Hi, I'm Brittney King.
And I'm Lisset King, and welcome to Honest Feedback, a podcast for you. We are here to answer your questions and offer our loving, kind, compassionate, and honest advice.
Yes.
Miss Brittney King is a pleasure priestess, and she is here to help you live your life to the most delicious level.
Yes, I am. And baby here, also known as Lisset King, is now newly a trainer of neurolinguistic programming and a master practitioner of hypnotherapy. So what she already did, she took it on another level. She can now teach others what she does. And what she does is essentially she's like a computer programmer, but the computer is your mind. Mm-hmm. So it's really helpful for removing limiting beliefs, changing the way that you're able to think and see and feel about yourself. And it's just beautiful, beautiful work. So between the two of us, you got the dream team for living your best life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And today we're going to talk about the need to be right.
Ooh. Dun, dun, dun.
Why do we want to talk about this? Well, first of all, just the need to be right has been something that's divided us. Mm-hmm. Like as a society, as humanity, in our relationships as couples, with our children, you name a relationship, it has felt the repercussions of needing to be right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very slippery slope. I mean, I know in my own life, I have had experiences of, I have to be right. I have to be right. Because you know what? If I'm not right, you know what that means? I'm wrong. Ooh. And nobody wants to be wrong.
Nobody wants to be wrong.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I used to hear, I've heard you can be right or you can be in a relationship. Mm-hmm. That kind of hit me hard because I too am recovering from needing to be right. Yeah. And it's not something that served me in the past. Luckily, I left that at the door before we started dating.
Yeah. You know what? My things about wanting to be right, there are a lot of secondary gains. It's like, if you're right, it's like, oh, I get put on a little pedestal. We celebrate people being right. It's like, you got the right answer in school. You got the wrong answer. You're right about this thing. You're right. So I feel like there's a lot of like ego stuff tied into being right. Perhaps secondary gains of feeling like superior, having like a confidence boost, feeling that your life is going in the right place because you're quote unquote right?
Yeah. I feel like we're deeply programmed from like school age to need to be right. And if you're wrong, it's just so embarrassing.
Super embarrassing.
So yeah, we had some callers call in today and asking about how to deal with people that need to be right. And also a really philosophical question of how to deal with it on the larger scale.
Yeah, I'm excited to jump in. But first, this would be a great time for you to hit that subscribe button.
Smash it.
Yeah. Whether you're listening to us on the podcast format or watching us video-wise, press a little subscribe, do a little like if you're liking the content and what's going on, and also feel free to comment because we want to hear from you. So do it now, and let's jump in. Caller number one.
Caller one.
Hi, Diaz. It's Jenny, she, her, and my question is about a certain coworker. I am new to the working world, and I am meeting coworkers who are very different from me. This particular coworker is a blessing and a curse. She's been there for me through hard moments and learning periods, and she looks out for me. But when it comes to solving a problem or trying to improve the way we work, you cannot get her to change her mind. You can't tell her she's wrong, and it's her way or the highway. On top of all that, she has no filter, and she can be a bit of a bully. I think because she's older and my coworkers and I are much younger, she plays the mom card and kind of classifies everything she says as just knowing better than us. I've heard of this great practice called reacting versus witnessing, returning everything to the witness and reacting less. And I know that I often get upset by this coworker, and I'll just sit to myself, fuming to myself, and get too in my head about it. I'd love to hear any advice you have on just witnessing the moment and staying calm. I love you both. Hugs and kisses to you both, and thank you for your help.
Jenny.
Yay!
My niece. I'm so happy that she called us in. She's a love bug.
She is. She's a great person. I've met her recently. And she is a sophisticated and lovely young woman.
Yeah. And she's a grown-ass woman now. She's entered the workforce.
The workforce.
So proud of her.
Yeah.
So proud of you, Jenny.
Yeah. The workforce is great because, you're making money. And also there can be some opportunities for growth where you are in a whole different environment with a lot of different people. So kudos for coming to us and wanting some advice about how to navigate through this, what you're experiencing with your coworker. So I wanted to jump right in. You asked for advice on how to witness. And what a beautiful, beautiful space to be in witnessing as opposed to reacting. So let's just start with some basic definitions. Witnessing is holding this space where we're just going to be an observation of what we're experiencing, what we're seeing, what we're hearing. As opposed to responding is as opposed to reactionary is things are coming at me, I need to come back right away without necessarily understanding what's coming at me. So advice on how to witness. So I would say the first thing is actually getting your heart on board and being open to listening to what someone actually has to say. For me, I find this really helpful to ground my energy, allow myself to feel my feet on the ground, allow myself to take a deep breath and actually just be present with witnessing. It is amazing what can be accomplished when you give someone presence and undivided, compassionate attention. Literally just sitting there with that focus of, I'm listening. I'm taking in, I'm listening, and listening just for the sake of listening. And also listening from the space of allowing yourself to be moved by what you hear.
Yeah.
Not coming in with an agenda of what you think, of what you think that they're going to say, of what you think you should be responding to. Just listen with the space to allow yourself to be moved by what you heard and take that in. This is another place where you can also bring in that tool that I mentioned a few episodes back of what I heard you say was. And you can reflect to them back. Witnessing, it can be an active process of, let me reflect back to you. What I heard you say was X, Y, and Z. No agenda, no and da-da-da, and I think it means this, but literally just repeating back to the person of what I heard you say and leaving it as, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah. That is such a wonderful tool that you've taught me about because actually it turns up your active listening. Yeah. And I totally love everything about witnessing. And I also want to bring into mind that versus reacting, and a third option is responding. So responding to what you hear. If this is a person that you're comfortable, you're going to be a bully, that's fine. However, it sounds to me like you love this person. This person looks out for you. She's looked out for you during hard periods, and she can be a bit of a bully and pull the mom card. And I don't believe that people want to be perceived in that way. I doubt it that she wakes up this morning going, I'm going to be a bully at work today. It might just be something that could use a loving reflection. And so responding is okay. And I want to empower you and encourage you to respond as well. And one of the ways that I've learned how to respond recently and I recently got it deeply involved and embedded into me at my training was a feedback sandwich. And first of all, yeah, it's
Sounds
delicious.
yummy.
It's so delicious.
I love sandwiches.
Me too.
Yeah.
I would have to say sandwiches are my favorite food.
Ooh.
Yeah, just put everything between bread and unfortunately I have a gluten sensitivity.
Yeah. It's okay.
It's sad. There's gluten-free bread though now.
I know.
Yeah.
I
digress.
The feedback sandwich.
I digress. So a feedback sandwich, there is no bread. Or yes, there is. The bread is loving feedback. Okay. And the middle is places we can improve. So what's important to say is, first off, you want to get agreement and ask for permission. You always want to ask for consent before giving someone feedback. No one wants to hear feedback. No one likes being wrong. Typically, no one likes being wrong. So if you're saying, hey, are you open to some feedback that would help us work better together? She might go, hey, yes, I am. And if she does, then step one is tell her how much you appreciate her and what you appreciate about her. I appreciate that you're a solid friend. I appreciate that you're there for me during tough times. Like that's going really well. And I could use fill in the blank honest feedback, like fill in the blank of what you would like to say to her, and give her a way that she can improve. So when you say this, it comes across a little bullying, and I think it would be more compassionate if you said it like this. So you're giving her an actual, not just like, you're a bully, but it's coming across this way to me, and I love you, so I'm giving you, I think if you said it this way, it would be more compassionate. We would feel like a team. We would feel like you respected us. We would feel included in the decisions. And so the meat of the bread, of the meat of the sandwich are ways that she can improve. And then overall, you're doing a great job. I love working with you. So the end piece of the sandwich is overall, I love you. It's going great. I appreciate you for all these things. So when you deliver it that way, first off, it tells them what they can continue to do right. You know, they're not just hearing all the things they've done wrong. You tell them how they can improve, and you tell them overall how much you care about them. And it has helped me. I did a training where we were eating sandwiches all day long. And I was able to improve so many things about the way I speak and the way I present myself. And because it was wrapped in that way, I got to continue what I am doing right. So that is a very empowered way you can respond if she's open to it.
Absolutely. And just to give you a little bit more concreteness around creating the meat of the sandwich, I would offer to you to sit with what is being triggered and how can you respond to these kinds of things in a non-emotional way. So if it's, hey, it's your tone. It's the tone.
Yeah.
It's the tone. I know for me, usually it's the tone.
Yeah.
It's the tone. So if it's like, if you can get very specific about like what it is, and it's like, hey, when you use this kind of tone, it's not landing well for me, and it affects my productivity and my ability to hear what you're saying. What would feel better is da 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 da. Whatever it would feel better for you. And that way you can have the meat of your sandwich coming from a place of not just like, I just don't like it and it makes me sad and it makes me angry. Not that your feelings aren't valid, because they 100% are. Just knowing how would best support someone being able to hear you from a logical place, particularly in this kind of environment, it might serve you best.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one thing I want to add is using the word and instead of but. So if you tell them, I really appreciate all these things you're doing, but it totally negates everything you just said. So use the word and, like, I really appreciate how supportive you are, all these things. And this can use improvement. And overall, I love you.
And is very powerful.
And is powerful.
And is very powerful. You know, I hear it very commonly. People are like, I love my kids, but they drive me crazy or whatever. And then it's like, it deletes the first part and then it just leaves the second part. But if you're like, my kids drive me crazy and I love them, you know, it's like, oh, look, both of us existing. Both of us existing. I had one more tool is, how can you enroll this person into being a team with you? Because sometimes we all, for whatever reason, pick up different roles or think, hey, I need to be this kind of role in the community. And maybe what actually is needed is like, how do I communicate that we're all on the same team? So maybe that's, let's have a team lunch, using the words that you want to get into, the energy field you want to get into. We all want to be on the same level, because you said this person is taking on like a mom role. Mom feels like mom, child. You want to be like team mate. We are both a team. So it's like, hey, let's have a team outing. Let's have a team lunch. I love it when we work together as a team, you know, encouraging teamwork as a place for shared values. And maybe this person will start to understand like, oh, I'm not in charge of that person. We're a teammate. We are equals. And, if it comes to the place, I definitely want you to feel empowered to use that verbiage of like, I so appreciate all the ways in which you are a leader. And it would feel best for me if we continue to have a thriving team relationship.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. These are just a few ways that you can handle it. There are infinite ways that you can go about this. And it's really important to have behavioral flexibility in your conversation. What if this doesn't go the way as planned? What if? What if they're like, team, suck it? No, there's no I in team, but there's a me,
Well, I have a question. What if the person is non-responsive?
Like they're reactionary?
No, like they're like, no, I'm not sure I want the feedback. Or like you give them the feedback and they're like, no, just no.
Yeah, that can happen. Okay. Let's just go ahead and say that can happen. If they don't want to receive your feedback, you respect that. You respect that boundary. And sometimes the effect of them not meeting you or being bullying or mothering, this person seems to care about you. If you withdrew from them, I don't recommend it. However, that's more feedback for them, real life feedback that might allow them to see, hey, here's this person who I've had wonderful rapport with, and now they're pulling back from me. What's that about? That's a possibility. So I urge you to take care of yourself, be a good witness, but also don't let their stuff splash on you. It's okay to put up a boundary with love and create a little space between this person, especially if they're making your life difficult at work in any way. You don't have to be around that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm super excited for you, Jenny, to take these tools into work and let us know how it goes. I'm holding the intention. Everything is love and light.
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent. So we have our first email.
Yes, we do.
That's exciting.
That was an option of how to contact us, and someone took it up.
Yes, so, in the early days.
Yes.
Bringing it back.
It's available. It's available.
All right.
Dear Lisset and Brittney, that's us. I really want to talk about coexisting. It weighs heavy on my mind sometimes. In an era where there are so many conflicting opinions, it seems like a majority is moving farther from unity and becoming more divisive. It feels like the majority of we, as a collective, are still coming from I'm right, which makes you wrong. And the media continues to exacerbate this. What are ways we can bridge the conversation and help others with acceptance when we come across people who seem fearful of an opposing viewpoint? In a society where deeper identification and labels around politics, gender, race seem to become more important, what are ways we can help steer the conversation towards unity? How do we help others see that each way is not the way, but just a way? And there are a million, billion, cajillion ways. How do we truly start helping ourselves and others move closer to coexisting peacefully and lovingly? What are some communication tools we can start passing along in conversation that build stronger foundations for peaceful discourse and acceptance? Love, Aquarian in crisis. My Aquarius sister. I found out this person goes by she, her. Oh. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, it weighs heavy on my heart too.
Yeah, beautiful reading voice, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you are reading emails from here on out. Just know that. You act them out in such a loving way.
Thank you.
So, would you like me to start this one?
I would love for you to start this one because I feel like you have very specific training.
I do. So I happen to be very deeply trained in the art of communication. And one of the things that I live by is something called the presuppositions of NLP. And I know that sounds wordy as fuck. And what it truly means is these are rules. These are ways that you can live in communication that are modeled after some of the best therapists, some of the most successful people in the world. And I'm only going to touch on a few of them because there's like 14 points. And let's talk about the ones that can really positively affect this, like to move the conversation forward. There are 4 points that I really want to bring up. The first one is respecting the other person's map of the world. And so what that means is every single person has a completely different experience than you do. They have a different upbringing. They have a different, class. They have a different parental unit situation. Everything about people's lives geographically, spiritually, emotionally, mentally is so unique that it doesn't mean you have to take on their map of the world or their model of the world. However, it is important to start by respecting it. Respect where people are coming from. It's wild. We can travel all over the country. And Brittney's like, how are you get along with like everybody? This.
That's true.
This
She's a master at it. A master.
Yeah, this is the first and foremost primary belief I have around people when I communicate with them. And they could be talking about very heated things. And I'm like, okay, this is their map of the world. It is not the world. And it is not how things actually function.
Yes.
It's just a way to look at it. Another thing is people are not their behaviors. Yes, people are not their behaviors. The way people behave, I do believe people are loving, kind, light beings. And whether or not that's true, it helps me navigate the world. And separating their behavior, what they're doing from who they are, because you can change a behavior. I know I can change a behavior.
Yes.
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 I'm in the business of helping people change their behaviors that are ineffective. And I've changed many of my own behaviors that are ineffective. And so separating the behavior from the person allows me to see them for who they are and just go, it's not the most effective thing they're doing. And yet I can see them through the eyes of love and light.
This is life-changing, y'all. Life-changing. Like, if you leave with nothing else alone, people are not their behaviors. Like, we've all experienced this. We show up in one way and we're like, well, I wasn't necessarily my brightest, shiniest moment, but does that mean you are a bad person? No, it does not. And having this compassion for yourself and others of realizing the behavior is not the person and allowing that separations, we can work on a behavior.
We can work on a behavior.
It is how change is possible.
Yes.
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 All right, continue on.
Amen.
I mean, yeah.
Yes.
It's really, really important.
It's really important. And also, people are doing the best with the resources they have available to them. Okay? People are doing the best with the resources they have available to them. And so everyone is doing, like, we come from different backgrounds. Like my parents did their best being immigrants from Colombia, coming to this country. You know, my dad faced all kinds of discrimination and things as he came here. And he modeled that to me. And it's not because he was a bad person. It was certainly just that was the way they were raised, and they did the best with the resources they had available to them. And in fact, they did a really good job. I think they did a wonderful job. I love my parents. I love where they came from. And I can see the things I'm like, that is not effective going forward.
Yeah, I can speak to this. As a child, I was a liar. Pretty good one.
Liar.
I was a liar. And I was a liar because it was a survival strategy for me. So did I lie to people in situations where I didn't have to? Sure did. Was I acting from a place of that was the resource I had to navigate the world as I experienced it? Yes. Once I was able to move from that space and realize that behavior was not serving me and not actually getting me what I want, which was, my truth was, this will keep me safe. I wasn't being safe. That was just an outdated strategy. I was able to change the behavior. So just knowing that people are doing the best they can with the resources they have means they might show up in ways that reflect certain behaviors that aren't necessarily true to who they are. It is just the resource they have in the moment.
Yeah, yeah, and change is possible. And so always remembering change is possible. It doesn't mean you have to withstand abuse or people talking down to you or anything like that. If you don't like someone's map of the world, you can walk away from it. It's absolutely okay. If you don't like someone's behavior, you can create space between that other person. The thing is, at the root, what I believe is that we do, at the highest level, when we are thinking in the most abstract, I think we do really want the same things. You know? And that was one thing that I kept, as I was doing, I did a cross-country trip, and I was in the deep south. And I have, you know, I was traveling with a mohawk and tats and on things, and I would walk in a space and they would look at me in a certain way. And it didn't matter. Like, I saw the love in everyone's eyes. And when I started talking and finding similarities versus differences, it created a bridge between us. I got some really great friends from all over the place.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Yeah. There's so much more to these learnings, these beliefs that are very useful. For today, I'm only going to touch on those because I feel like those help at least create the bridge that this caller, this email writer, this questioner,
this Aquarian,
yes,
Aquarian in crisis.
Yeah. So I stuck to these three specifically because I feel like they're very relevant to what Aquarian in crisis is asking.
Yes. I wanted to touch on the way versus a way. So, story time, y'all. We were living in LA at the time, and like there were these amazing hot springs that we would go to. They're like in Apple Valley or something. It's like an hour outside of the city, and it's this whole beautiful thing. You drive far, you hike far, you get to it, you enter this oasis, and then it's like hot springs and rivers, and also part of the PCT touches this. It's beautiful and amazing. So we're there with our girlfriends. We're all just like relaxing and listening and like soaking in everything, this beautiful experience. And then there's like a collection of people. They all seem to stop at like this one point. It was kind of like a center meeting point between like multiple parts of like the hot spring area. And these groups of people, they tended to be men, but you know, I think they were all people. Yes. And they would be like, so how'd you get here? And one would be like, well, started at the 5, went down to this, went down to there, did this, did that, and then how'd you get here? Well, started out at Apple Tree, went down this way, hiked down that way, hiked in 3 days, da-da-da-da-da. How'd you get here? How'd you get here? And then all of us were like overhearing, being like, everyone's like, the conversation seems like really tied to like, how did you get there? And like, just like a little energy of like, oh, my way seems better. My way's better. Well, did you know you could have gone this way?
Yeah.
Did you know you could have gone that way?
There was so much energy.
There was so much energy. And it was just like, ah!
Yeah, it was a little crazy making. I remember was watching them being like, does it even fucking matter? We're here.
We're all
they're
here.
Taking time out from enjoying this beautiful oasis of hot springs to talk about how they got there. And sometimes the conversations were long.
And heated.
And I'm just like, you're here.
But we're here. We're here.
Why does it even matter? Okay.
Yeah. So like focusing, how do we redirect people to like reminding everybody that we're here? And so I just did a little NLP training too. And the term is called chunking up. I would say in the actor world or the layman world, it's like big picture.
Big picture.
Big picture.
Yes.
Big picture. How can we get to a bigger picture of what we all want? So I would say let's throw in a quote unquote controversial one. Connection to source. To source energy. God, the universe, Allah, Ing, love, presence, grand old design, whatever you want to call it, energy. I refer to it as source. And so let's say some difference. I am a witch, so my connection to source is through witchcraft. And let's say you're Christian and your connection to source is through Christianity. Mm-hmm. What is the biggest purpose? Like, what is the higher purpose? We're both connecting to source. So let's zoom out. Oh, what is the purpose of your religious practice, your spiritual practice? Oh, to connect with source. What's the purpose of yours?
To connect with source. To connect with God.
We both want to connect with God.
Yeah.
Wow.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great with it. How is it going for you?
Oh, I love it.
I love it.
Love it.
I love it.
We have a great connection.
Great connection. We both love connecting with fill in the blank. Mm-hmm. Source, you know, and allowing ourselves that like both of these things can coexist. like several trees in the forest. Like you can have a forest and a mountain and a valley and the beach and cities and town. Like, you know, everything can coexist together.
Everything can.
Yeah.
And in fact, whether you like it or not, it already is. We are already coexisting. And I think where we hit the wall is that, like, my way's the best. You got to the fucking hot spring.
Yeah.
You're there. Enjoy it.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
it's not about this way being better or that way. And it takes you humbling yourself and being willing to see, hey, there's another way to get here. And that's okay. I don't need to take that way, but there's another way to get here. And that's all right.
We all experience the world differently. I am more a kinesthetic person. Touch is the way that my body receives and learns information best. So you know what feels good for me? Hugging trees.
It's true. It's true, y'all.
I love hugging trees. It means a lot to me. I feel things when I hug trees. You know what baby is? Auditory.
I love to hear it.
She loves to hear things.
I need to hear it. In fact, it's tied to my love language. Like, it really helps when Brittney says why she loves me. And it's not her primary one. She'll walk in a room and go, hug me. And I'm like, got it. And that's all she needs to feel better. And sometimes I want her to tell me my hair looks great.
Yes. And these things can coexist,
They can coexist.
at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have to force her into being like, no. Touch is the way that we make sure that we are feeling loved in our relationship. Like, how much energy and effort is it for me to try to force her into my way of experiencing the world? Like, you know what? That's a lot of effort that Brittney does not want to do. So
Yeah. And so we chunk up, like, what is this an example of? Hugs are an example of love, of how she feels love. So I'm going to give her some hugs.
yeah.
You know, luckily she's cuddly and, like, he's super easy to hug. However, it's just, is it okay to meet that person because that's what they need?
Yes.
You know, and just like, however, if our main objective is to express love and feel love, I'll give her whatever she wants.
Yeah.
You can have it all.
Thanks, baby.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. So Aquarian in crisis, like, I would encourage you to zoom out and get to the bigger picture of where there's shared values. Shared values. Oh, love. Great shared value place, you know, connection,
Yes.
community. What is the thing that we're both feeling, and we have our different ways of going about it. And yeah, it is really helpful to remind everyone that there is a million, billion, gazillion, trillion, zillions, dillions.
She had a lot of, like, million, billion, cajillion ways.
Yes.
That's a lot of ways.
There's a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember hearing it's like, there's a lot of ways to skin a cat. No, I've never skinned a cat. But
I've never skinned a cat. That sounds terrible.
I think it was like a food thing.
I mean, I respect anyone who needs to skin a cat.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to take that on myself.
I know.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and in knowing all of that, knowing that people are coming from a different place and trying to find the similarities versus differences, remembering that even love in itself, it can be different for the other person. So bring curiosity to your conversation. Instead of going in with, I'm going to change, like, don't colonize. Don't come in there being like, I'm going to teach you my way and you're all going to take it on. Like, we are just offering a way to perceive this.
Yes.
Has it worked for us? So far, so good. Find a better way? I'm down to try that as well.
Same.
However, coming to a conversation with curiosity and encouraging other people to come to a conversation with curiosity will allow just so much more space to grow.
Yes, and I just want to add a little extra diamond that just dropped into my head. Get clear with someone if they're curious about your way. If someone's like, oh, I don't know, that I'm not really interested, great. What a great place to stop the conversation.
That was fun.
That was very fun.
Informative.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we got hit with some big questions today.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I feel like letting go of being right has improved my relationship so much with me not being attached to being quote unquote wrong means I'm a bad person and it means like I'm wrong. Letting go of that belief has been life-changing for me, and I'm able to allow myself to be changed by the things that I hear and allow myself to be like, oh, maybe I did make a mistake. And you know what? That is not the end of the world. That is okay. I misheard something. Okay. Yeah. Or I forgot something. I'm sorry.
That's
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. How has not being right improved your life?
Well, in general, I think I have a richer relationship with my family. I have an easier time being around people, and you.
Am I people?
You are people. However, our romantic relationship has expanded so much. For a very long time, I did not get the witchery at all, like almost resistant to it, and yet I never let that get in the way. Now I'm super into it. Now I love it. And also it's not exactly my main practice to connecting to source. I have my own practice of connecting to source, which I love. And it's not the way, it's a way. And the curiosity I've brought to the way you live your life has just added so much flavor and color to the way I exist.
Yay. Look at that. Flavors, colors, existence. Yeah. I'm on board with all those things.
Yeah, I knew you would be. That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Well, this is wonderful. And it was so great getting to hear from Jenny, an Aquarian in crisis. Thank you so much for your beautiful, beautiful questions. And let us know how this goes. For anybody else who would like to send us a voicemail, you can give us a call at 971-895-4111 and leave us name, pronouns, and your message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we look forward to hearing from you. And until we meet again, be honest with each other.